What?
Yeah.
I swear, man.
I know, pitiful. Sorry, if any of you all caught that, sorry.
Nobody called that right now. Now all these 19 people are just like, no, I'm not watching it. I'm not watching it. That was Dean's fault.
It's my fault. I'm bad. I'm bad. My bad. Dang, man. I know. Hey, it's been one of those days, and that's what I wanted to talk about.
Yep.
Landscape from jump this time. Much better. Yeah. No, I screwed up. And actually, that's funny. That's what I want to talk to you about. All right, so, as you guys know, the show, we've been trying to keep this going. We try to do 5 to 6 video uploads a day.
Yeah.
I'm editing twice a day now. It's getting to be apparently a bit much. We just finished filming the 2330 video on Tuesday when we do our in-store reviews. It was supposed to go up today. It didn't make it up today because last night we ended up working a little late. That's 2 nights in a row we ended up working a little late. Got home, sat down. The girls were at soccer practice, so I was nice, quiet house. Started editing. Next thing I know, woke up at about 8:30 with a stiff neck. Computers were already asleep. I passed the F right out, man. I was done.
Yeah.
So this morning, got up, didn't edit this morning, slept right through the alarm. So apparently it finally taken a toll on me. So the 2300 video, I'm going to try to get up tomorrow. Best maybe Sunday. Depends on what's going on tonight, but that's my plan. So sorry I didn't upload it today, but that gave us the opportunity to go live with you guys today because oddly enough, we've been working late all week today.
Wait.
There's nothing in the bay.
Nothing in the bay.
That's not to say we didn't do any cars this morning, but we've already done pretty much everything we had on the books for today this morning. So now we have time to do this. Awesome, right?
Definitely.
Now we have been doing a little bit of updating to the bay and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're moving things around. The other day we got in a bunch of new stuff for charging cameras, and so we're cleaning off that area. And then we got in some shrink wrap that we're talking about in a vlog that you guys will see soon enough, so I don't want to tease too much about that. So yeah, we've been just kind of moving things around, getting things situated. We still haven't worked over here in this corner yet. I'm still debating on what I want to do there. I don't know if I want to just move Fernando from there next to me. I don't think I want to have him next to me. But yeah, so hopefully everyone is getting ready for this wonderful weekend that is full of nothing. Little kiddies over here all started going back to school yesterday. So traffic has sucked. I got stuck behind a bunch of buses on the way to work this morning. That was no fun.
Yep.
What do you got for me?
We have a lot of people say hi.
All right, shout outs from where we got. Wyoming.
Yeah.
Where we got?
Okay, the doctor.
Guys, I really want an Android-based radio. Okay. Has Android operating system? Do you recommend? No. We have had a couple of the manufacturers that make the radios reach out to us, ask us to review them. It's not anything we want to get involved in right now. I don't feel anyone makes one that is worthwhile. All the ones that customers have brought in have turned out to be a tragedy. So, no. At this point, I'd say buy like a Note or some form of a pad and put it in the dash. It's going to work a lot better than a radio.
For a kicker, is there a break-in period?
Every speaker has a break-in period. The question is there a break-in period for a kicker speaker? Every speaker has a break-in period. Now, how long that break-in period is varies, of course, depending on the speaker manufacturer. I wish that speaker manufacturer would put like an ETA time frame, like anywhere between here to here, but they also realize that depending on the amp, depending on the car, depending on the box, it's all going to change. Typically, normal playtime is about a week. For something like that, about a week. If you got about 350 to 400 watts to them in a ported enclosure, it should be broken in a week of normal drive time. Now, if you're in your car and you play it for 6 hours straight like you're on a road trip, it should be broken in by the time you're done with that road trip for sure.
Road cruise. Yeah. When you do the dyno on the head unit, how you connect all 3 testing devices all in once.
So what we do is we make a, we use the different outputs, like radio has 4-channel output, so if we're using deck power, we're connected to, let's say, left and right. If it's RCA wise, we come out of the left and right RCA, and then we build. I'll have to film a video on the equipment that how we hook everything up. We typically use left and right. Sometimes and then we Y off from there, depending on the type of reading we're trying to get. But yeah, everything gets plugged in. That's a great. I thought about how we actually hook everything up to do that. We'll probably do a behind-the-scenes video on that next time we set up to do one of those, which we'll be setting up here soon. Now that all the radios are starting to come in, of course, we want to do the new NEX, we want to do the new 4 Series Kenwoods, and we're going to try to do something with the Alpine, specifically the Alpine. I want to get a 107 in here and see what it's doing out through the preamp section, because it's the only radio right now that has the Wi-Fi built into it. So I want to see what kind of output we're getting. I mean, it's 2 volts. Everyone is crying about that. I want to see how. Anyway, I want to see how close to that 2 volts it gets. So that's on the schedule. We just we're trying to manage our time as best as possible.
Any DSP similar to a Pioneer DEQ 7600 or 9200?
No. The easiest way to say it, no. Unfortunately, no. And I keep asking them, Pioneer, which unfortunately pretty much falls on deaf ears. If Pioneer would just make a black box that has all the features and like the current radios with network mode and all that, it would be amazing. Especially with the auto EQ feature that they have, that would be amazing. I mean, that'd be amazing.
It's amazing. Sounds amazing.
It would be. That would just pretty much kill everybody, because it'd be Pioneer, which is a brand that is Pioneer, whether you love them or not. they're huge, and then to have all those cool features that they make in those radios and the auto EQ, everyone could put it in. It would just be a button and you're done.
Fernando say you guys rock. It will be nice to have you guys do a show on Discovery Channel.
I don't know if we'd have time.
Thank you, man.
The paycheck.
I appreciate it.
I would not turn down the money for sure.
Thank you. I have a Toyota 2017 Highlander. I love the car, but their speakers and the stereo, it's under tune. Any advice?
We did the video on the Highlander?
Yeah.
Where we took the factory radio out. We have the whole replace the radio in your Toyota Highlander video. We took that factory touchscreen out, put an 8200 in. Yeah, it's just one of those cars, man. We just shot the Toyota Tundra video that's up. I believe that was either the last video or the video before last that's up. Toyotas sound like crap. There's really nothing you can do to fix that factory head unit. You can throw as much EQ at it as possible, and what you just end up with is an EQ turd.
Okay, Richard, I have a Hyundai Veloster Turbo. What speakers do you recommend to replace while keeping the stock amp and the head unit?
I mean, we've never really done that. We've always tried to pull that factory stereo out. What was the kids we just did? The guy from Texas, the Veloster. Were those Type R's all the way around?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did we did one recent. We did the video on the Veloster, which is probably how you found us. Hopefully, maybe. Where I believe we put Type R's and all of that. That sounded really, really good. And they're reasonably priced. So, and if you're going to be keeping the factory stereo and power, price-wise, you don't want to go too crazy because you're not going to benefit from going super expensive on a speaker. I would check out the Type R's because they're reasonably priced and the performance is very high.
Brandon is coming.
Who?
Brandon.
Yeah?
Yeah, he say. I'm going to stop him by in the shop.
Okay.
Anyway, cool, man.
Okay.
Okay, on the ILX 107, what happens when two people who have previously paired get in? Who takes the lead?
It works off the hierarchy in the menu system. So it's set up 1 through 5 or 4. And so whatever, it goes to the first one first. If it sees that one, it automatically pairs to it. If it doesn't see that one, it moves to the next one. If it sees that one, it pairs to that one.
Yeah.
So it goes through the hierarchy of the phone. So if you want be the #1 phone, make sure you pair your phone first, and so on, and so on, and so on. So it'll always go to whatever is #1 first.
Yeah. Where are you located?
We're in Clearwater, Florida.
Okay.
Right across the street from the original Hooters. That's right.
Yeah.
The original Hooters, where the Hooters franchise started, is right out the window over there. You can come and get Hooters wings that taste nothing like they did when it first started.
What's up, Johnny? Andre.
Still too
Yeah.
short. That was a pitch. It was a tall pitch. Wish they paid me.
Did you guys do any speaker reviews, like the head units on the subwoofers?
Okay, so a lot of the times with speakers, the best we can do is an unboxing. I've been trying to figure out how we could do a review that would be, everything we do we want to fit into some form of a test. Like we figured out how to test the head units. We have that down now where we can hook everything up and we can test everything the exact same way. Like some of the guys bitch that we use an iPhone 6 Plus, iPhone 6 Plus for the review. We're using that because we can use that on every single radio, so it gives us a benchmark that we can move from. I don't want to use a different phone or a different app on each one because what we're looking for is consistency through the test, so that we could say this radio did this, this radio did this, and they're all tested the exact same way. I don't know how to do that with speakers because, I mean, if I'm going to use my ears, if I'm not having a good day, the ear's going to be wrong. I could play like pink noise and put them in a box, and I don't know what that would be, you know. So other than just opening them up, showing you them, giving you a feel for what they can do, to me that is usually about as beneficial as we can get, because it's like, and if we could put them in a car and show you that, we like to do that. Like a lot of the Focal Perfect Fit stuff, or integration as they call it, we show you that because that's nice to see, and you can kind of get an idea if you have in a Toyota or any other of those cars how those things fit.
Alright, Dale Winner say Pack Audio Pro factory integration or the DSP for the newer 4 sync system.
If you have, okay, so it's not a one or the other. If you have the Sony system in the 4, you want an Amp Pro, period, end of story, go for it. From there, if you want to add the Phoenix Gold DSP or any DSP you want, you have a clean signal coming out of the head unit to go into that DSP. It would be silly just to buy the DSP, some the tweeter, some the mid-range, some the rear speaker, some the subwoofer into it. It's never going to sound the same. Plus, you're also going to need resistors on the line, because out of that amplifier is terrible, so you need to load the amplifier down. It becomes a mess. That's why the Amp Pro into that. Now, you have the iData, which works with something like the P606 DSP amplifier.
Yep.
That video will be up next week. We're doing it in a Dodge Ram. That has all those features built into it. It's an all-in-one plug-and-play solution for a DSP, for and into the radio. But then you're stuck using the Kenwood amp only, so there you go. Anyways, but no, they're not and or. Now, where you run into the and or, where you know, if you don't have a Sony system, then you just have to go with the processor. That's that.
All right, Mr. Mention say, do you recommend the Alpine PTX V9 over the Pioneer 5-channel amplifier? The Pioneer has more power.
No, it doesn't.
Why? Is the sound much better?
Actually have more power. That's fake news. Oops. We'll call it fake news. The Pioneer does not have more power. The Alpine actually has more power. The Alpine is almost double the money as the Pioneer. There is no comparing the PTX V9 to the Pioneer. Not even on the same playing field. The term apples and oranges, no, that's like apples and sand. They're totally different amplifiers. The PTX V9 is one of the best, if not the best, for its price point, 5-channel amps you're ever going to buy, hear, or listen to. So, if you can go for the PTX V9, do yourself a favor, buy the PTX V9. It's going to sound powerful. You just can't get a feel for how good it sounds.
Right. Let's see. 210s in the sealed box or in a ported box. 12.
Ported boxes are typically more boomy. Sealed boxes are typically more dry, and that's the generic how they describe those things. If you like deep boomy bass, you got to go ported. Unfortunately, ported box has to be bigger. So, like if you're gonna do 2 ported 10s in a wedge, it's a big box. It'll sound better than 2 sealed 10s in a box, but it's a tough call. I like ported enclosures. I like boomy bass. That's me.
Alright, what do you guys think about the trio engineer subs?
I haven't done a trio in a really long time.
Alright.
To the wall.
Saludos, Tony. I have the ILX 207.
Yeah, he just got it.
Yeah. Before I have the Pioneer 290 VT. When I have the Pioneer, I had an audio control 3 to hook up. Do you still use it with the Alpine?
Well, okay, so the MVH 209 BT is one of Pioneer's entry-level radios. The Alpine 207 is a much nicer radio that has the 9-band parametric EQ, that has the crossovers, all done through the TuneIt app. If you don't want to use the TuneIt app, you could obviously still keep the audio control, but I don't think you would need it I think you could do Alpine into your amps and be just fine. I would probably do that. That's how I would set it up.
Alright, Thomas, does the ILX 107 have dual phone pairing?
No. No, okay, the 107 is a very specific radio for a very specific customer. It has Bluetooth, and the only reason why it has Bluetooth is to pair to the Wi-Fi. So it uses Bluetooth to make pairing to Wi-Fi easier. As soon as you pair over the Wi-Fi, the Bluetooth shuts off. You never see it again. You don't get it as a source. It's not even in the menu. It's just Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, CarPlay, one phone. If you want to do the 5-phone pairing, what you're doing is you can listen to one at a time. You can go to the second one. CarPlay does not have the ability to do dual phone. That's really where the problem lies, is it's not built into the CarPlay software. The engineers haven't figured out that there might be 2 people in the car that want to answer the same phone. Is it going to come one day? God, I hope so. But we've run into this. It's not just an Alpine thing. It's a CarPlay issue. We just did a bunch of testing on the 2330s because you can do certain things now with the 2330 that you couldn't do before. Like you can, because Bluetooth typically gets shut off when you plug in for CarPlay. But now on like a 2330, you can have the one phone playing and then do the dual phone for music. You can't get calls over both, but you can like CarPlay phone, answer text messaging, secondary phone, be listening to Bluetooth audio from it. It's really weird.
Alright, this is good. Brent, try to do the audio EQ on my 4200 NEX and my Jeep. Plug the microphone and only go into the fronts.
Okay, if you have the Jeep with the premium sound system that only has the input, the 2-channel input, you can't use auto EQ. I'm guessing that's probably what the problem is that you don't actually have front rear sub. If you're using, we've done a bunch of videos obviously on Jeeps. If it's a 4 or is it an 8, meaning are there 4 speaker wires behind the head unit, or are there 8 speaker wires behind the head unit? If there's 4, you're using a front only, you can't use auto EQ because there's nothing there. You also have to have a sub connected. So if you don't have a subwoofer, through a RCA output, auto EQ isn't going to work either.
Yeah. Okay. So 2005 Subaru Outback with the factory sub. Do I have to use the LOC or can I use solder RCAs? And
good question. If the factory if the preamp output, okay, if there's a sub amp, factory sub amp outboard just going to the sub amp, and it has variable voltage going to it, meaning that there's RCA level. You take your voltmeter, put it in there, and see if the volume goes up and down before the output of the amplifier. Yeah, solder on some RCAs, you're golden. If you're just asking me because like there's a sub in the rear deck and there's a speaker wire going to it, you still need an LOC. If you can get to the preamp section of the amplifier and you can probe to find out what is, let's say, front, rear, left, right, and it's a variable voltage, you still may need an LOC just because it might be too high of an output voltage, but you could also solder an RCA. So it varies on the application. So if you have variable voltage or not.
Alright, Steve, it's like I swap out my 4200 NEX for the
Jeep radio.
For the Jeep radio, and the subwoofer output is significantly less than the Pioneer. It's normal?
No, that shouldn't matter. I'm only assuming you're adjusting the subwoofer volume control on the radio. Also, the Jeep radio has a lower output voltage than the Pioneer, so you may need to turn your gains on your amplifiers up because the Pioneer has a higher output voltage, so that might be the reason too. The other thing is check the subwoofer volume. The EQ is going to be different. Most Pioneers out of the box start out at powerful, which gains up the EQ section for the subwoofer. Most Alpines out of the box start at flat. So you have a couple different things working against you there. So you may need to EQ it, you may need to turn up your gains, and of course check your subwoofer volume.
Alright, saludos para Valeria, Ángel y Sebastián. Alright, so they say, let's see, thanks for the advice. What would you recommend, the Pioneer 1330 NEX or the Sony AX100?
That's a tough call. Those are very similar radios in form and function. The Sony has a volume knob, which a lot of people like volume knobs. So that's kind of cool. The Sony will also do Android Auto that the Pioneer will not. So if you need Android Auto, you definitely want to go Sony. As far as EQ goes, the Pioneer is going to have a more complex EQ. As far as features you can do, basic use is going to be about the same. But as far as how deep you want to go into the radio, the Pioneer is going to have more depth to it. So if you're building a system around sound quality, I'd recommend the Pioneer. If you want something that's just straight up easy to use and very little time as far as integration, you know, your brain with the radio, the Sony is definitely a nice one that way. So something to think about.
Alright, seems like the 4200 NEX in my Jeep, the Sirius cuts out when Waze notifications, and I have select SiriusXM to get to the play again when I'm doing wrong.
Okay, so a couple things there. Are you using the factory SiriusXM antenna would be the question I'd start with first. If you are, the antenna for it is located up on the roll bar. So if you're not using the factory SiriusXM antenna, I'd ask where that's at in relation to the phone, because you might just be getting interference over those antennas. That'd be the only thing I could think of, is that you're getting some kind of interference with the antenna. Might need to be, I haven't had that complaint yet, so that's a weird one. I think it's an antenna issue for sure. The other thing too is, where is the SiriusXM brain mounted? If it's just stuck on top of the radio, you might need to move it over somewhere else, like down low in the dash, because it might just be the brain for the SiriusXM is sitting on top of the Bluetooth chip in the radio, and it's bleeding through.
Alright, so is there any way to extend the range of the Bluetooth on the ABH 5800? Seems like my Bluetooth range is short.
You should be getting about 15 feet of range with your Bluetooth out of the box. If you're getting anything less than that, I think you probably have something either wrong with A, the phone, or B, the Bluetooth chip. We've done a video, how far can you walk away from, not the most recent one with the Alpine, but we did one with a Pioneer to see how far it would work, and we got about, was it 15 or 30 feet?
The Alpine?
No, the when we tested the Pioneer radio, we put it on the bench and we walked out. I think we got, because we got out the door.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it was probably,
like,
you should be getting a minimum of 15 feet. I know that much.
Yeah,
that number just sticks in my head for some reason. But if you're getting less than that, there's something wrong.
Alright, guys, help me with my ABH 84.
Yeah, 84 RPH.
Yeah, sometimes the head unit changes on by itself, and we'll randomly press things.
Alright, so that's a detachable face version, because the 84B, that's the European version of it, I believe. You may have a bad face. We've been starting to see that in some of the older, like 4000s and 4100s.
Yeah.
Is that the face contacts are starting to go bad, some of the buttons are starting to break. It's a 3 or 4 year old radio, so these are going to happen. Especially on a detachable face radio. We haven't seen a lot of them. Don't get me wrong. When I say we've seen them, we've seen maybe 3 or 4 out of the thousands and thousands and thousands that have gone out the doors. Not necessarily here, but just in general. I mean, we sold hundreds of them. But yeah, it might just be the buttons, that little trim panel. We've seen where those have started to do strange things over time.
All right, William, question: 15.4 flex with the Sony system. How can I add a sub?
You do it one of two ways. You can add in the like we just did the video that went up with the Ford Dodge Ford.
Yeah.
We were just doing a sub amp. We added in the amp pro to it, so we could get a full clean signal output, no variable voltage, none of that crazy volume adjustment BS. Or you could just add a line level output to the Sony sub output and connect that to your amplifier.
Yeah.
So those are the two options you really have. Go with an amp pro, which is great if you're ever planning on adding anything other than a factory subwoofer, or adding anything other than a subwoofer to the factory system. If you're just going to add a subwoofer, then just do an LC7, LC, what is it? LP7 pack audio high level converter that we use in all our videos.
All right. Morel or Focal?
Oh, come on, guys. Why you got to ask that question? Morel or Focal? Dude, they're both awesome. You're going to do no wrong. I love them both. I have Morel in my house. I have Focal here in the store. If I was to buy a product for my car with what we carry, I'd probably buy Focal. If we sold Morel, I'd buy Morel. I mean, it's one of those brands that... You don't make me pick my favorite kid.
Greetings from Aruba. Thank you, Irvin.
Aruba, I love that. It sounds
Arvin,
so cool.
Arvin.
Aruba.
Yeah. Have you used the Alpine license plate mounting kit?
Yeah, we actually just did a video on where we use it. We actually buy the Alpine license plate mounting kit, and we put when we sell an 8201 or
but
any one of
with
those
the Kenwood,
01.
with the Kenwood CMOS.
Yeah, as long as it's that
multi-angle.
cool one, I'd have to check for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's the same 1x1 cube that everyone uses. It should fit just fine. We do it with the Pioneer. We've done it with the Alpine. I've done it with the 102 Kenwood, which is the same size as a 202 Kenwood.
Yeah.
And I think the 302 is the exact same size. If they are, it should fit just fine. It's no big deal. It'll go right in there.
Okay. JJ say I have a 1997 Ford 350. Wonder if the new CarPlay Pioneer single DIN flip out will hit in my dash.
You probably have to space it out a little bit. Maybe not. Yeah, I'm trying to think of that one off the top of my head if it looks just like the F-150. I think it'd be okay. I mean, it comes out enough. If worse comes to worse, you might have to space it out just a little bit, but I don't think you'd notice that too much because you would be out all the time. But it's just like if it's the same exact flip out size as the 7700 and the 6500 and the flip out that was before it and the flip out that was before that. I mean, it's a brand new chassis and a brand new circuit board, but the flip out portion of it is basically the same as that they've always used.
All right, Greg, when using LOC with remote turn on for the install or the newer model cars 2017, why the amp does turn on and off randomly with the key off?
Correct. Okay, so what happens is now that the new radios with their Class D circuitry on their radios, every time the door chime and stuff like that is all going through the system. So when you turn the key off, the LOCs will stay on until they don't see any line resistance over the speaker line. Shut the door, wait anywhere between 1 minute to 5 minutes, it all shuts down. Now, as soon as they unlock the car, that wakes up everything in the car, including the radio, and it sends a pulse out through every speaker in the car, which wakes up the amplifier. So what we get phone calls are about is, dude, my amplifier's never shutting off. And I'm like, what do you mean? It goes, I just unlocked my car and looked at it and it was on. It's like, no, it was off. It just turned on because you unlocked the car, which woke up the whole system in the car. And part of that is waking up the radio because they're trying to turn on all these products and start the car at the same time. So it's like when you boot down your computer and boot up your computer. When you hit unlock or open the door, it starts the boot up process for the computer in the car. And one of those things is waking up the radio, waking up everything in the car. So when you start up the car, all this stuff is already ready to go. So that's a problem that we run into daily. It's not a big deal. They typically fall asleep. It's the customer that we have to explain to that this is why it's doing it. But it's not a big deal. It shouldn't affect the car. We've never had one that has caused the battery to go dead.
All right.
Plus, the other thing too is you also have the reason why it randomly turns on and then turns off is that a lot of the cars now have this. They'll wake up the car to see if any of the doors are open, so it turns off the light. So when it does that, it turns on everything, checks, sees that there's nothing on, and turns off. Okay, sorry.
All right. Let me see. What type of scheduling system
a customer database do you guys use for your business? I'm looking for a digital. Okay, that is a topic that we don't get into much on here. We have Paul.
That's the scheduling.
Paul is our scheduling database system. Paul doesn't believe in scheduling like I'm used to for 21 years. I used Peachtree and I used a generic daytime scheduler. And on the computer, we would schedule everything in. We knew what it was doing. We could put history. We could see what kind of cars we worked on. We'd put in make, model, year, all that fun stuff. So, and phone numbers and everything. So we could always go back and figure out when we put something in your car. Paul has a scrap piece of paper that he puts on the counter and he writes a bunch of shit on it and draws a line underneath it. And neither Fernando nor I can read his writing. I don't know what it is. That's what we use. He still handwrites his receipts because he loves to be able to converse with customers and come up with the bargain price. I don't know. It's like, so that Paul. We use Paul software.
That's it. All right.
It's amazing it works.
Well, Greg say Paul sounds awesome.
Paul is awesome guy.
It is.
Paul, it's amazing the amount of stuff his head can retain and know.
Remember,
where
it's
we butt heads is he's totally business minded and is designed around selling boxes, and I'm designed around talking to people and getting them to understand what they're doing. So when we're both involved in a system, it usually comes out amazingly good. We just had a customer in today. They're looking to do a system in a Fiat. I really hope they do.
All these people that are waiting for the Fiats.
Yeah, so I spent about an hour with them going over all the features, benefits, advantages, and things like that. That's nothing Paul can do. And then I hand all our wish list over to Paul, and from there I step away because I don't want to be involved in that part of it. But that's where he's good at. And yes, he's amazing. And he knows where everything is at. It's just...
Joshua 2330 NEX unboxing and a full review, please.
Yes, like I said at the beginning of this video, you're a little late. It was supposed to be today. Recap real quick. Was editing it last night. I've been working a lot of extra hours. I fell asleep at the computer. I missed my alarm this morning and slept in all the way in. I've been having some real crazy hours. 1 second.
Yeah. But it's coming. Definitely that review, it's already in process, so...
Yeah. I've only been getting about 4 hours of sleep lately, so last night I finally hit the wall and passed out at my desk. It was very shameful. I'm sorry. I'm hoping to have that video out either tomorrow or Sunday. So it'll be out. Trust me, it's coming.
Ryan, yes, we carry Scar, and it's an awesome brand, you know?
You don't see a lot of Scar in our videos because most of it is over the counter.
Yes. All right. Let me see. Have you guys ever installed one of those mini 4-channel amp, like the Alpine KTP?
We call them the brick amps. The brick amps are great. We use them a lot. We use the universal most of the time when we have to do one. A lot of the times when we use those amplifiers is when we're replacing a factory system that had a factory amplifier. One of the two components has gone bad, and we're putting that in to fix the system. So we don't do a lot of them when we're just doing generic upgrades in the cars.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll do them if we just want a louder front stage and they don't want to get real crazy. Let's say they're putting in some, let's say, speakers in the front. But we use them as tools to solve issues. We don't use them a lot of the times as like oh, you want the radio just a little bit louder? Here. No, we don't do much of that.
All right, 15 Wrangler. Can I install an iPad slide kit and I get control?
Yeah, I believe Soundman's done quite a few of those. I would contact him.
Yeah, you should check him.
You know, because he has the cool kit. I know he's done one for a customer that we actually did work on their Jeep. He sent he was in his video probably the last 2 seasons ago. They sent their dash to him to have them remove the 4-button switch as well as put an iPad dash kit in it. And I think we did a little bit of work on the back side of it before, or on the front side of it, before they did that. As far as functionality, I never got to see the finished product, but yeah, I would contact Soundman for sure.
Saludos, Frank Corona. All America. I have a 2016 Ford F-150 Super Crew installing a Kenwood 9903. And can you recommend some tweeters for my truck? Also, I have small amp installed.
Those tweeters are up in the pillars right there. You're going to want something that has some form of attenuation, meaning the ability to go 0, -2, -4. Alpine makes a Type R tweeter. It's a nice, smooth, silk soft dome tweeter that does that, gives you the ability to turn it down. That's key because you don't want tweeters up there that are just going to blast your brains out. So check out those. If you do want tweeters that are going to blast your brains out, though, check out something like a Rockford, like a Punch or something like that. If you want the ultimate and blow your brains out, check out the Rockford T1s. But I would stick more towards like your R-types.
All right, Chad say, take your time, Dean. Don't kill yourself.
What fun is that?
I guess we can sponsor.
Any beer runs for Dean?
For your 24 pack.
Yeah.
So share with Fernando and Haley.
Yeah, we just got water today.
Yeah, that's it, man.
This is it. This is water. A lot of water. A lot of colored water. Like the energy water app.
Yeah.
No, not really.
All right, CarPlay 4200
That's
and
good.
SXP 300 using OEM antenna, XM spots,
Oh.
waves and ons.
Oh, that was the Jeep guy earlier.
Yes.
Can't play anything from the screen. Have to manually go back to Sirius and play until next.
Huh.
That's
weird. Yeah.
All right, go back. Let me look at that one more time.
All right.
All right. Using OEM antenna, XM stops at Waze announcement. Screen goes blank. Oh, okay. I see what's going on. All right. So yeah, all right. So he's playing SiriusXM.
Yeah.
He goes to do Waze on a 4200 and switching the source. You have to physically go back. Yes. Okay. Totally understand it. That's an issue with the 4200. Now I know what your problem is. Yes, it's an issue with the 4200. Unfortunately, you're going to have to live with that issue until whatever replaces the 4200 comes out, and that problem will be resolved. The problem has been fixed on the new units, like the new units that are out, because they've added in the ability to do multitasking into the radio, which solves a lot of that problem. The 4200 is built off of a 4000, and none of that really changed. So, yeah, that's an issue with the 4200. It's not the Jeep. It's not the car. It's just Waze.
Alright, now say, what do you think of all the new electrician system on the new cars?
I think it's good, and I also think it's a headache. I like the fact that these cars are becoming more computer-based cars, because then now things are software-driven. Anything is software-driven, you can write software to integrate into. So I think it's a good thing, because we're going to see solutions from companies like PAC, from companies like iData, that are writing into this software that's going to allow us to continue to improve upon the factory system. Anytime we're kicked out of the factory system and we can't upgrade, that limits why anyone would want to own that car. I feel car manufacturers are striving to keep us out, and we as people that own cars are freedom. Cars are expression of our individual selves. When you limit what we can do to those cars, then they just become tools. Tools aren't as fun. We want to make them mine. If he's got a Toyota and I got a Toyota, I want that Toyota to be my Toyota. I'm going to jack that sucker up. I'm going to put a grill on it. I'm going to put rims on it. If he does the same thing, well, now I got to put a system in it, make my system better than his system. We want to personalize everything we own. That's why you come up with a phone, and then there's 50,000 different phone cases for the phone, because everyone's got the same phone. So I like, back to bring this home, the fact that these cars are more software driven is actually a good thing. It's harder right now because, black box installation sucks, because there's nothing to troubleshoot other than this black box didn't work, which we run into. We had an iData link problem where it just wasn't doing this, and it turned out the black box was bad. Put a new one in and everything worked great. That sucks, but it's cool at the same time.
All right, for Frank, the screen calibration does not work. Like you say, probably you have a bad face.
Yeah.
So you might have to replace it.
Time to upgrade.
Yeah.
Or send it in for repair.
Francisco say, hey guys, can you guys do a video on how to connect LC7 on the Ram 1500 with Uconnect system?
We've done a video on how to use. We have tons of we have the audio control LC7i. We have several different videos. We have three different videos on how to hook that up into a car.
Yeah.
We also have how to use the LP7 So we have tons of integration videos already made. If you're going to see something like that, it's going to be in the install diaries videos, where we just go through and show you our day-to-day installation, which if you're not watching those, you should, because that's where a lot of all the technical stuff gets thrown into now, because we just don't know where to put it, and we can bang it out a lot faster and get the content out to you guys faster.
All right.
And it's just fun.
Front right Twitter keeps going out in a full volume, only when rocks it's playing. Any ideas?
Yeah, you're clipping the crap out of it. Anytime you say it only at full volume to me is all the way up, numbers maxed out. So the only reason why a tweeter would clip out is, especially if it's a tweeter with a crossover network attached to them, most of them have some form of DC blockage built into them.
Components.
Meaning when the amp is clipping, it automatically either mutes the sound or cuts the sound off so you don't damage the speaker. If you're constantly blowing the speaker, then that's the same thing. It's just doesn't have the DC protection built into it. Your gain is too high, the EQ is too high, or your volume is too high. turn it down. If it's not loud enough for you at that point, that means you need bigger, better tweeters and more power. That's it. If you want it louder, you gotta go louder. Gotta go big or go home. Kind of sucks.
All right, it's Lucky. Say it's possible to keep my factory mic, SiriusXM and GPS antenna on my Chrysler vehicle. So I know iDialing makes okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I get it. So basically, it's the same question we get a million times. Can I keep my factory SiriusXM? Yes. You need a SAT1 antenna adapter. Can I keep my factory GPS antenna? Probably not, because it's going to be different than the mount. Kenwood makes the SAT2 kit, which may work. The GPS antenna, it varies. It's really designed around Toyota for that part. Can you keep the factory Bluetooth mic? No. You always have to use the microphone that comes with the radio. Can you keep the same location? Yes. Now, what you're going to want to do is pull down that housing and mount your mic up behind it. We have a couple videos how to relocate your mic. We do in a Jeep Wrangler. It's a similar situation in that car. The whole idea is just put the mic up behind the panel and aim it towards you. But yeah, so in the GPS antenna, you can mount your aftermarket GPS antenna underneath the dash towards the front of the window, so you don't actually have to put it on top of the dash or outside of the car. So that one we don't worry about too much, because we can just we mount our antenna wherever we want, you know, and it doesn't stick on top of the dash, so it's not ugly.
Right. How you guys try on the ferrule crimpers yet?
Yeah, actually we just got in. Hold on. Ow, sorry. We just got these guys in here. We're testing these out. I'm probably gonna buy a couple more pairs. So I don't recommend these yet, because we haven't really. I want to try. There's a couple more pairs I want to buy later this month. I'm gonna pick those up next couple weeks. We're gonna shoot a whole nother ferrule video. We're trying to. I want to make sure that when we do the next video, you guys can actually order the stuff. Ferrules Direct, which was the company I recommended, sent me an email thanking us for talking about their product, but please don't direct people towards their site unless they want to buy bags of 100. And I was like, well, let's work together and come up, and they never responded, so screw those guys. So we're going to come up with something better for you guys.
Yeah.
So patience. I want to make sure whatever we recommend to you is something we're going to be using on a daily basis and have tested thoroughly. Otherwise, we're not being sincere, and I can't do that. So
yeah. Let's see, one more. Are there any good size or apps for a factory wire diagrams like Munson, Mark Levinson, etc.?
You know, not really. All Data is the popular one. You have to pay a monthly fee or a one-time use fee to get in there and get that. What we try to do is when we do the videos, we don't like to use those types of software. We like to just show you guys how to figure this stuff out on your own. I feel that that's more important than just grabbing a bunch of wires and hoping that you're right. I know that's easier, but I want you guys to understand how to do this stuff, as opposed to just, oh, this says blue and red. Then you get in there and it's wrong because it's the wrong blue and red and you never tested it. So even though, like when you're installing an alarm, you know, we go to Direct Text, which is a dealer-based service that DEI provides for us. And they say, you know, this is this color, this is this color, this is this color. And there's plenty of installers out there that just tap those color wires and don't test anything. They put it in and it doesn't work. And they're like, why doesn't it work? I tapped all the right colors and you didn't test anything. So I just feel that if we show you how to walk, then you'll know how to walk, and then you'll learn how to run. If we just tell you, oh yeah, we go here and get this color wire, we're not really teaching you anything. So we do it the same way here. We want you to understand how to do it.
Alright, Dave, will the PGDSP-PA.A be user-friendly enough for a DIY install?
You can go, if you have an iPad or a laptop or something like that, you can download the whole install app and play with it, I believe. Yeah, I don't see why not. The whole idea behind that, you know, when PG was designing that product, and you know, they asked us a couple questions, and they asked a million other dealers a couple questions, and we all said, look, it's got to work on Windows, it's got to work on Mac, it's got to work on an iPad, it's got to have some kind of customer integration for a cell phone, it's got to have all these things. So they're the first manufacturer that has come out with a product that works on all these platforms. Is it going to be user-friendly? Hell yeah, it's going to be user-friendly. That's the whole idea, was for them to come out with a product. That's why it took 2.5 years for this product to come out, because they wanted to make sure that they could put it in the hands of everybody, and have it work, you know. Is there still going to be things that you're going to hit your head on? Oh, sure. Every one of these products has things you hit your head on. You know, understanding how to set up an EQ, understanding how to do time correction. But the nice thing about it is it's going to be easy enough for you to play with it on enough platforms for you to figure it out. Nothing is just magic button like a Pioneer where you put the mic in, you know, do all that. That would be great, but, you know, baby steps. I'm happy with using it on an iPad.
Let's see, will be good. Any experience or components about?
Never heard of it. No.
Never.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever done a center console box in the 2009, 2013 F-150?
Not in that particular car, no. I've done a couple of center console boxes, a couple F-250s and stuff like that. Honestly, I try not to build anything out of wood anymore. It's just not my thing. My whole first 3/4 of this car audio career, I fabricated everything. I went with wood. I probably wasn't the smartest doing it, didn't always wear a mask. At this point in my life, I have no desire to huff or cut wood. It gets shit all over. We don't have good ventilation in here, so
yeah.
No, I don't build a lot with wood anymore. Fiberglass, Bondo. We try to stay away from that as much as possible. It's just not our business model. I mean, you know, we cut plastic. We build things out of plastic.
Yeah.
That's about it, because plastic doesn't dust up like those things. It falls straight to the ground. It's really nice to work with.
All right. Do you guys ship any wireless adapters or antenna adapters if I purchase from you?
Yeah, I mean, you can contact Paul about anything you want to purchase. He'll send you anything you need. So give Paul a call, 727-216-6170.
All right. So Tony,
a couple more and then we'll head out of here.
Yeah, I have 2 amps in the front channel, and the system, it's gone. The subwoofer still work. Switch the amps, and the amp are fine. Is the front. I run components. I have electrical crossover too, running fronts.
Was that the auto EQ guy?
No,
Oh,
different. Yeah.
Oh, that just looks like a conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, move on.
I have the.
Hello from Palm Beach. What's up, West Palm Beach?
You ever heard about the helix 6.5?
You know, okay. Like, here's a set of helix here, just so I happen to have a helix box here.
We have everything. We did a
really small time frame where we sold the helix, mainly when it was part of Rockford.
Yeah.
We just have that stuff left over. Back then, we never really spent a lot of time with those. We didn't do enough with them to form an opinion on them. Those are left over from a from a BMW install we did, which isn't up yet. Hopefully, I'll get that out at some point. We just did 5 sets of 4-in tweeters in a BMW, and they're those helix, and they sound amazing. So if they're anything like these, then they're very impressive for sure.
All right, what's up, Roland? Now let's say, do you guys upgrade alternators also?
No, and the main reason I've had, like the Italian job, I had a bad experience. And I've had nothing but bad experiences with alternators. That's not to say that you're going to have a bad experience with an alternator. I leave alternators to mechanics, so if you want to upgrade your alternator, 2 things to note. 1, keep your factory alternator. 2, become really close friends with whoever put it in. You're going to want to figure out how to do it yourself, because at some point, no matter what, no matter who builds it, that alternator is going to fail. And when it fails, you need to be able to take it out, put your factory back in, and send it out for service. It's one of those things. You're building a race car. Anytime you build a race car, parts break. When parts break, you need to know how to fix them. So if you're not inclined enough to be able to replace the alternator by yourself, I suggest don't doing it. If you can replace it by yourself, I suggest it all the way. It just comes to how good you are with your car.
All right, it's Tony, the guy that is like, I want to go pile for my next system. Like, all right, man. We don't care it, you know. I mean, it's like
pile, really? I think that was a spam.
Hey, what's up, guys? You understand those individuals with a high power amp should be running cabs for even power and less draw.
Stiffing capacitors actually don't allow you to draw even less power. They do increase your current draw, though. I'm not a fan of stiffing capacitors. There's plenty of videos out there from higher, more intelligent people than I am.
All right, Chad, see you, man.
That show that the benefit of capacitors is very nil, especially the current state of capacitors. Most of these capacitors now are cheap crap. The 24-volt capacitor days are pretty much over. Everything's like a 16 or 15-volt cap, which is totally useless. Small batteries like SPV 20s, everyone makes that small battery. Way more benefit adding that small battery than adding a capacitor.
All right, Jimmy, how do I plug my HDMI in my 4200? Watch our video.
Pull the radio out. The center of the radio next to the heatsink is an input for an HDMI. Plug it in. One thing you do have to keep in mind, you need a small head HDMI. We like to use Kenwood's HDMI cable. It's automotive grade, which means it can get hot as hell. That's the other thing. You can't use a cheap HDMI when you put it in your car because it'll heat up, it'll fall apart.
All right, Darrell, does the 2006 Honda Civic have a factory amp?
If it's got the factory subwoofer, it has a factory amp.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Lost internet. All right. That's it. Thank you. Yeah.
How do you feel about the new line of NEX stereos? That is a great question. That's what we're going to end on. How do I feel about them, Fernando? We had this conversation yesterday.
Awesome. Yeah,
okay.
He loved us.
Spent 2 days doing all the research possible. Had it set up on my kitchen table as we banged through all the feature settings. All I can say is this. If the higher-end NEX Kenwood systems... I'm sorry. If the higher-end... Ken, why did I say Ken? If the higher-end Pioneer systems are going to be based off of this new platform... They're going to be amazing. The things that you can do with this new radio blows my mind. We were taxing the shit out of this radio with dual phone connectivity. Single phone connectivity is perfect, pretty much flawless. The things you can do. If you have an iPhone and you want to do Waze, you need a new NEX radio.
That's it.
Those things do Waze like it's nobody's business. And the clarity on the screen is freaking insane. To think that that's still an 800 by 480 screen is unbelievable. You could plug a thumb drive with a 1080p movie on it and it'll down-res it and look great. So all these things we're going to show you in the video we have coming up, but I can tell you this, those radios and that platform is the best platform Pioneer has come out with to date. They are insane. I love these new radios. By far the coolest radio Pioneer has come out with in a long time. So I can't wait to see what the higher end NEX radios are going to do compared to these. With that, you guys have a great night as always. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.